The waitress who never spoke. The Silver Spoon Diner wasn't fancy, its red booths were cracked, its lights flickered, and its coffee was always just a bit too bitter. But to Emma Brooks, it was everything. She was 23, soft-spoken, with chestnut hair always tied in a bun, and eyes that looked like they'd seen too much sadness for her age. She'd been working at the diner for 3 years, ever since she dropped out of college to care for her younger brother, Liam, who was born deaf. Emma rarely talked. She didn't need to. The world around her was loud enough. The other waitresses gossiped about tips and boyfriends. Emma just smiled politely and did her job. Every morning, she walked to work in the same faded uniform, with her old sneakers squeaking on the floor tiles. Her manager, Mr. Cooper, was the kind of man who cared more about profit than people. "Emma, table 4's been waiting for 10 minutes, he barked one morning. "Yes, sir," she murmured, quickly hurrying off. But that day, that ordinary, gray Tuesday, would turn into something extraordinary. At noon, the diner suddenly buzzed with chatter. A black luxury car pulled up outside. Out stepped a tall man in a tailored gray suit, Ethan Blake, the young billionaire who owned half the city's real estate. People recognized him immediately. His mother, Mrs. Margaret Blake, followed him, graceful, smiling kindly, though her movements were slow. "Is that her? The famous art patron?" whispered one of the waitresses. "Yeah. They say she's deaf, poor woman." Ethan pulled out a chair for his mother and gently helped her sit. He waved at the manager, asking for service. Mr. Cooper nearly tripped over himself rushing forward. "Of course, sir. Anything you'd like. Our best waitress will take your order right away." And by best waitress, he meant Emma, not because she was confident, but because she was the quietest. The one least likely to embarrass him. Emma approached their table, clutching her notepad nervously. She smiled at the old woman, who gave her a warm look. "Good afternoon," Emma said softly. "What would you like to have today?" Mrs. Blake smiled, but didn't respond. She just looked at Emma, waiting. Ethan leaned forward. "I'm sorry, my mother's deaf," he explained gently. "She can read lips a little, but it's hard in loud places. Maybe I'll just order for her." Emma nodded, her lips parting slightly, but then something clicked in her eyes. She noticed the woman's trembling hands, the subtle gestures she made. It was sign language. And before she even thought twice, Emma began to sign back. "Would you like soup or salad?" Her hands moved gently. The woman froze, then tears welled in her eyes. Her face broke into the kind of smile that comes from deep loneliness suddenly ending. She signed back quickly. "You sign?" Emma nodded shyly. "My little brother is deaf," she signed. "I learned for him." The woman laughed silently, and then reached across the table to hold Emma's hand. Ethan sat frozen, watching. He had never, in his entire life, seen his mother communicate so effortlessly with a stranger. Usually, meals were quiet, awkward, with him translating between her and others. But now, she was laughing. Smiling. Radiant. Emma didn't notice anyone staring, but everyone was. The other waitresses stopped to watch. Even Mr. Cooper's jaw dropped. By the time Emma brought their food, Mrs. Blake was glowing. She kept signing stories, about art, her garden, her favorite childhood foods, and Emma responded with kindness and warmth. Ethan couldn't stop watching. The girl in the simple apron had somehow given his mother more joy in 10 minutes than he'd managed in months. When the meal ended, Mrs. Blake hugged Emma tightly before leaving. Ethan left a thick envelope on the table, inside, a $2,000 tip. But Emma didn't see it. Mr. Cooper did. That night, Emma came back to clean the tables and noticed something missing, the tip money. When she asked, Mr. Cooper snapped. "Don't get greedy. That's for the house. You should be grateful you even have a job." She wanted to speak up. She wanted to scream that it was hers. But she couldn't. She just lowered her eyes and whispered, "Yes, sir." She didn't know that Ethan Blake had seen everything, from the window outside. The billionaire's test. The next morning, Emma arrived early, only to find the diner empty. The lights were off. Mr. Cooper stood at the counter, looking furious. "Somebody called this morning," he growled. "Said they're closing this place down for inspection. Said it's owned by Blake Enterprises now." Emma froze. "Blake, as in Ethan Blake?" He sneered. "Yeah. Probably a mistake. Billionaires don't care about diners like this." But it wasn't a mistake. Within an hour, Ethan walked in jeans this time, no bodyguards, no fancy suit. His mother wasn't with him. He sat quietly at a booth, and when Emma approached, he smiled. "Do you mind sitting for a minute?" he asked. Emma hesitated, then nodded. "I wanted to thank you," Ethan said. "For what you did yesterday. You made my mother feel seen." Emma blushed, fiddling with her apron. "It was nothing. She's very kind." He leaned forward. "You didn't take the tip I left." She blinked. "Tip?" "I left it on the table. $2,000. Her eyes widened in shock, then she shook her head. I didn't know." Ethan's expression darkened slightly. "Mr. Cooper did, though." Emma looked down. "Please, don't get him in trouble. I just want to keep my job." That single sentence, that quiet, humble plea, hit Ethan harder than any speech could. He stood up, pulled out a letter from his jacket, and slid it across the table. "You won't need that job anymore," he said softly. Emma's heart stopped. What do you mean?" "It's a job offer," he said. "My mother wants to meet you again. She's opening a new foundation for the deaf, and she asked me to find someone who can help her run it. Someone patient. Someone kind. She asked for you." Emma's eyes filled with tears. "Me? But I'm just a waitress." "You're the only person who ever spoke her language," he said. She covered her mouth, unable to speak. The paper trembled in her hands. Behind them, Mr. Cooper came storming out. "Hey! You can't just poach my staff." Ethan turned calmly. "Actually, Mr. Cooper, as of this morning, this diner is part of my company. You're fired." The room went silent. Mr. Cooper's face turned red as he sputtered, but Ethan ignored him. He turned to Emma, his voice gentle again. "You deserve better, Emma. My mother believes kindness should be rewarded." And for the first time in years, Emma smiled. Not the shy, forced smile she gave to customers, but a genuine, radiant one. Epilogue, the reaction that left everyone in tears. Months later, the city gathered for the grand opening of the Blake Foundation for the Deaf, a school and support center for children like Emma's brother, Liam. On stage stood Mrs. Blake, signing her speech proudly, with Emma beside her, interpreting for the crowd. When it ended, Ethan stepped forward, his voice trembling slightly. "I used to think money could buy anything," he said. "But this woman, a waitress who barely spoke, taught me that the language of kindness is more powerful than any currency." He turned to Emma. "Thank you, for giving my mother her voice back." The audience rose in applause. Mrs. Blake hugged Emma tightly, signing through tears, "Your family now." And in that moment, every struggle, every quiet night Emma had endured, every tear shed in silence, was worth it. Because sometimes, the smallest act of kindness can echo louder than any words ever could. Movie camera. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to The Kindness Chronicles. Every click helps us share more true-to-life stories that remind the world, kindness still matters. Yellow heart. Would you like me to create